Morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Total Body Strength. Jazzy, program manager with Access at Autodesk. And I've got a really good circuit planned out for us today. So we're going to be focusing on lots of pushing movements. So we're going to do lots of pressing, some raises, working on our shoulders, and then doing some like lunges and single leg things, ending out with some core at the end of the circuit. You do need one set of dumbbells. If you would like, I would recommend two. But if you don't have two, that is all good. You can just stick with one. And I'm going to go ahead and get us started with our with the demos here, and then we'll get into our warm up and then into the circuit. So we're going to start off. We're going to have our dumbbells here. We're going to do an alternating overhead press. So what we're going to do is one arm at a time. We're going to start with those dumbbells right above our shoulders, coming up, one arm back down, and then the other arm up and back down. So we're moving that weight, controlling it up, controlling it down, making sure those elbows are slightly in front of the shoulders, not all the way out here, but slightly in front to target those shoulder muscles. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to do some curtsy lunges. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one foot, we're going to go back, diagonal, and across, keeping those hips facing forward. So if you pretend like you got headlights on your hips, blind the camera, holding those dumbbells at the side, coming down, standing back up, pushing off that front leg, and then coming to the other side, pushing off that front foot. So making sure we're keeping that whole foot on the ground in the front, going on that back toe, pushing off that front foot to stand it back up. So that's our curtsy lunge. And then after that, we're going to do some lateral raises here. So we're going to keep those dumbbells outside of our legs, palms facing behind us. So our pinkies are towards the ceiling. We're going to squeeze through the delts, coming up into a nice T here and back down. So kind of similar with our presses. We're not going straight out beside us. We're going slightly in front, really aiming to get our side shoulder muscle there firing up. Next, we're going to do our alternating reverse lunges. So again, keeping those dumbbells at your side, you're going to step back, keeping that weight on that front foot, pushing off, coming up to standing, and then the other foot pushing off back to standing. Making sure that we are not putting our foot directly behind, but making sure it's like we're standing on train tracks here. So our feet are parallel into that reverse lunge. And then after that, we're going to do around the world raises. So this one, I do actually recommend a lighter set of dumbbells. It's going to be a little bit harder than it might look or it might seem. But you're going to have your palms facing forward, hands outside the body, just like with those lateral raises. We're going to squeeze through the shoulders, coming up all the way overhead and then back down. Again, controlling the weight back down, it's really easy just to let those hands fall back to the sides. Want to control that weight down, and then at the top, making sure that we're not slamming our weights together. So we don't want them to touch, and then right back down. So again, that's going to be working on the shoulder as a whole. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to lay on the ground on our backs, and we're going to do some toe touches. So you can have one dumbbell, two dumbbells, no dumbbells, whatever feels most comfortable for you today. We're going to have your feet straight in the air, bring those dumbbells up, touching the toes, and back down. So we're exhaling using that core, not our momentum, and then back down. If you want to hold at the top for a second or two, that will make it a little bit more intense, which I always would recommend. So that is going to be our circuit today. We're going to go through 3 times of that, and then we're going to do 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest, 3 times through, and then we'll do a couple cool down stretches. So we're ready to get started with our warm up. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our way onto the ground on our hands and knees, and we're going to do a couple rock back and forth. But what we're going to do is we're going to take one leg out to the side, kind of like a kickstand here. We're going to open up our hips a little bit more, get ready for all of our lunges we're going to do today. So keeping that core nice and tight, we're going to inhale, rock back, keeping that pinky toe of the leg that's out to the side on the ground, and then exhale, coming back up. So these are our quadruped rocks with our adductor stretch, which is basically stretching the inner part of the thigh. Exhaling, coming back up. We're going to do 2 more. Inhale, rock back. And exhale, coming forward. Great job, everyone. Okay, last one. Inhale, rock back. And exhale, coming back to that starting position. Awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and do that same thing with the opposite leg out to the side. So I started with my right leg. Now we're going to do the left leg. Keeping that pinky toe on the ground, we're going to inhale, rock back. And exhale, back to center. And inhaling, rocking back. And exhaling, back to center. 2 more, inhale, rock back. And exhale, back to center. And last one, inhaling, rocking back. And exhaling, back to our starting position. And from here, what we can do is we can tuck our toes, push our hips into a plank. So we're in a nice plank position. We're gonna go ahead, push our hips into a nice down dog position or pike position, stretching out our upper back. We can even pedal those heels, driving the heels into the ground, stretching out those calves, and back to our starting plank. And we're gonna do that 2 more times, pushing up into our pike position, really stretching out our upper back, getting our calves, and going back to plank. And last one, pushing up into that pike or down dog. And from here, we can go ahead and walk our hands towards our feet, keeping those legs nice and straight. And we can slowly roll up to standing. Almost fell over there. And then once we're at standing, we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. So getting our dumbbells ready, we're starting with our alternating overhead presses first. I'm gonna get the timer going here in 3, 2, 1, and go. So grabbing our dumbbells here at the shoulders, one arm at a time, going up overhead and back down. So really, again, focusing, controlling the weight up, controlling the weight down, keeping those elbows slightly in front of our shoulders and keeping our core nice and tight. So if you notice, as I'm coming up, my back is not moving. So if you're feeling yourself starting to arch your back to get the weight up, that means that one of 2 things. The weight may be a little bit too heavy today, but that doesn't mean it's always gonna be too heavy. The other thing could be maybe some overhead mobility issues, so we can always work on that. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up, we got our curtsy lunges. So we're stepping back and diagonal, keeping those hips forward. The more our hips are forward, the more we're gonna feel that in our glutes. 3, 2, 1. So keeping that weight in that front foot, knee tracking past that second toe, push the ground away, stand back up. So we want to focus on pushing through the heel, big toe, little toe of the front foot, because that's really going to engage our glutes there. And that's what we really want in this movement. Making sure that chest is staying above the arch of our front foot. So we're going to watch from this angle. I'm stepping back, but I'm keeping my weight forward. So it's just like a regular squat, but we're just doing one leg. The other leg is just kind of off to the side. Keeping the weight over the front foot. So we're not pushing off the back foot. We're going to start to feel that in our back leg if we do that. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have our lateral raises. So we're going to have those hands at our sides, making sure when we come down to the bottom, we're not touching those weights. Staying outside of the legs. 3, 2, 1. So pinkies towards the ceiling. I want us to pretend like we've got a plane of glass all the way across our shoulders. The goal is to break that glass with those elbows. So we're focusing on driving through the elbows, controlling the weight up, controlling the weight down. The more we keep those weights outside of our legs, we're really going to get that nice tension on the shoulder muscles, which is going to help us get stronger. And now is the time to work on our shoulders for when the summer comes. So as anyone who knows me knows, I love training shoulders. 3, 2, 1. That's actually my favorite shoulder exercise. So love doing those. All right, next up we have reverse lunges. So we're going to be stepping back behind us, making sure our foot is in line with the hip that it belongs to. So right foot right behind right hip, not behind the other foot. 3, 2, 1. So stepping back, knee past that second toe. So it's just like a curtsy lunge, but instead of stepping over here, we're just stepping straight back, still keeping our chest right above the arch of that front foot. And when we step back, we do not have to take a giant step back. We're going to feel that more in our back leg than in the front leg. So I like to step a little bit closer, making sure that we're really pushing the ground away with that front foot. If you're starting to feel yourself really push with that back foot, what you can always do, again, going nice and slow. As soon as you start to come up, 3, 2, 1. Sometimes I like to just take that back foot off, making sure I'm really not pushing off the back foot. All right, next up, we have around the world raises. Palms are going to face forward. 3, 2, 1. So palms forward, coming all the way up overhead, making sure our weights are not touching at the top, and lowering nice and slow back down. So we want to keep our arms as straight as we can. Also, what helps is making sure that we have a looser grip on the dumbbells. The tighter the grip, we're going to start to feel that more in our forearms. So if you have a nice loose grip around and it's like we're pulling the weight up, we're really going to start to feel that in the tops of our shoulders there. So pull that weight up, keep that core tight, lower, nice and slow, back towards our sides. 3, 2, 1. All right, nice job, y'all. Okay, last thing on our circuit for the first round, we're gonna do our toe touches. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my kettlebell because I love doing these with a kettlebell, but you can keep 1 or 2 dumbbells. 3, 2, 1. So this one is something that we probably could do with a little bit of a heavier weight if you do have a second set of dumbbells, making it a little bit more challenging for you. You can always do that also for those lower body movements, grabbing a little bit of a heavier weight, and the upper body movements maybe a little bit lighter until we start to get stronger. Because even me, my upper body is not as strong as my lower body because those muscle groups are a little bit smaller. So that's why I do always recommend more than 1 set of weights, but it is also a-okay if you only have 1. Excellent. Coming up, slowly back down. 3, 2, 1. All right, nice job. We have 1 round down, 2 to go. So we're gonna stand on up again, getting our dumbbells ready, alternating overhead presses. So 1 arm at a time. 3, 2, 1. So dumbbells at the shoulders, coming up, right back down. Really important here that we are keeping those hands right above the elbows. And if you notice, my elbows are just slightly below my shoulders right now. We're not coming all the way down with the dumbbells at the shoulders. When we start to do that, we're overworking the range of motion that we need to be working in to get that proper engagement and recruitment from the muscles. Also, our shoulder joints are very, very, very tiny and not very stable. So if we overdo the range of motion, we run the risk of potential injury to our shoulder joints. And I do not want that for any of us. 3, 2, 1. All right, nice job, everyone. Next up, we're going to do our curtsy lunges. So we're stepping back and diagonal, hips, have those headlights, blind the camera. 3, 2, 1. So keeping all that weight in our front foot. Same thing with reverse lunges. We don't want to push off of our back leg. We're just we can a little bit, but once we get our footing down and we're starting to stand up, really putting that weight in that front foot, the more we have the weight in the back foot, we're gonna really start to feel that on the back quad, which is not what we want. We want to feel it in that front glute. So focusing on just a slight push off. And then if it helps, I like to take that back foot off the ground sometimes to really make sure I'm driving through my heel, big toe, little toe of the front foot. And then again, if we step behind and we're blinding over there, we're not going to get that engagement we want. But if we blind in front of us, 3, 2, 1. If we blind in front of us, we're going to get that glute engagement of the front foot. All right. Next up, lateral raises, palms behind us, hands on the outside of the legs. 3, 2, 1. Elbows coming up, breaking that glass that's sitting on our shoulders. Keeping that core nice and tight. Making sure that our dumbbells are staying outside of our legs, getting that recruitment of the side of the shoulder. So we really are going to feel this more in that side of our shoulder muscles instead of maybe the front. Then we feel more with the overhead presses. And keeping those dumbbells slightly in front, pinkies up towards the ceiling, controlling up, controlling down. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm already starting to feel those. Okay, next up we have our reverse lunges. We're gonna alternate here. Stepping back 1 foot at a time, keeping that front foot. 3, 2, 1. Keeping our weight over the front foot is really what I meant to say there. So pushing off, heel base to little toe, and that knee, the front knee, that inside part of the knee is right over the second toe. So from this angle, you see the knee over the toe, not coming too far forward, but also not too far back. Because if it's back here, we're not going to feel it where we want to. So to keep that knee over the second toe, push the ground away with that whole foot. I'm going to really feel it in the glutes. Keep that breathing going. Chest is staying open. So even though we're slightly leaning forward, so that chest is over the arch of the front foot, we're not hunching over. We're staying nice and tall. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have around the world raises. We're going to start with our palms facing out. 3, 2, 1. So we have that nice loose grip. It's like we're pulling the dumbbells up from the ground. Keeping that core nice and tight. Even from this angle, going straight out in front. Shoulders are away from the ears. Our back is nice and flat because our core is tight. Our glutes are even slightly engaged here. And the slower we move up and down, the less momentum we're going to use, which is exactly what we want. If we use momentum, we're not going to feel it in the shoulders like we want to. So we're nice and slow here. 3, 2, 1. All right, nice job. Last part of this round is going to be our toe touches. So again, if you want to grab a heavier weight for this one, feel free. Really working our core today. 3, 2, 1. So exhaling, coming up, touching as close to the toes as we can. I think I said this last time we did these, which was a few weeks ago, but I always tend to accidentally bring my feet forward while I'm reaching up. We really want it to be just the hands reaching towards the feet versus kind of reaching up and touching. That's going to be more of, a leg raise than a toe touch. It also will help us work the core a little bit differently if we really try and keep those legs where they are versus moving them. It's a different kind of engagement of our core. 3, 2, 1. All right. Round 2 is done. We got one more round before we cool down. So we're starting off with our alternating overhead presses. I'm going to take this off. I'm getting a little toasty. 3, 2, 1. One dumbbell at a time, alternating over our head and back down. Keeping that core engaged. Again, moving nice and slow. Keep those dumbbells just over our shoulders. So if they're too far out, want them right over those shoulders. Elbows, again, ever so slightly in front of our shoulder joints, protecting those shoulders. This is actually a really great way to strengthen our shoulders, will help protect them. So it might not feel very comfortable at first. It never is. But over time, the stronger we get and the better we get at these types of movements, the better our shoulders are going to be. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up we have curtsy lunges. We're going to step back diagonal, hips forward, not over there. We're blinding the camera with our hips. 3, 2, 1. So we're stepping back diagonal, keeping that chest over the arch of the front foot. Push the ground away with the whole foot. Keeping that chest open. So just like with our reverse lunges, Our chest is open, even though our center of mass is over the arch of the front foot, our shoulders are not coming forward. So pull those shoulder blades together like you're squeezing an orange, cracking an egg, whatever imagery resonates more with you. That's what I want you to picture. Blind the camera with those headlights. Heel, big toe, little toe. Great job. Finishing this movement out strong. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with curtsy lunges for today. Next up, we have our lateral raises. So hands staying on the outside of our legs. 3, 2, 1. So drive those elbows up. Keeping, again, a loose grip on those dumbbells. The slower we control the weight down, the more muscle engagement we are going to get. So just like any other movement, we control the weight up and control the weight down. The slower we move through, the more tension is on the muscle, which is going to help us get stronger, going to help us grow some muscle, which is always great, no matter what your goal is, to have more muscle, because it can help us burn some fat if we want to lose some weight. It can help us look a little bit stronger. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have reverse lunges. So we are going to alternate there, and then we only have 2 more movements after this, and then we'll cool down. 3, 2, 1. And I would say after this, you're going to be done with lunges for the day. But if you decide to come with me again to work out with Exercise with Exos at noon, we're going to be doing more lunges. So if you do come, this is not going to be your last time doing lunges today. If you are doing our New Year challenge, it will be your last time doing lunges today, because you're not going to be doing any of those today. Push the ground away. Keep that weight in the front foot. Great job, really pushing through. Finishing this movement out strong this morning. Try and get a few more reps each leg. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have around the world raises, and then our toe touches, and then we're going to cool down, and we're going to have a great rest of our Thursday. Palms forward. 3, 2, 1. So still, just like with our lunges and everything, we're still keeping our shoulder blades pulled back down and together. Squeezing that orange, cracking the egg. Again, whatever imagery resonates with you. Keeping those shoulders away from our ears at the top. Control the weight up. Control the weight down. Nice job. We're getting lots of shoulder work in today. Like I said, now's the time to get ready for the summer, because muscle growth takes a very long time. If that's your goal, weight loss takes a long time. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, we got one more movement today. Go ahead and lay on the ground. Grabbing my kettlebell for the toe touches. Last movement this morning. 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, humming up, touching those toes. Getting that weight as close to the toes as we can. Using that core, keeping that core engaged before we come up. If we start to use our momentum, we're going to use our arms, we're going to use our legs, and a little bit less of the core. So really focusing, keep that core engaged. So if you have to pretend like someone's about to punch you in the stomach, embrace yourself for that. And then exhale, lift up. Great job. Do a few more here. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be our whole circuit for this morning. Nice job, everyone. Go ahead and grab a sip of water if you need it. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way onto the ground for our cool down. And we're going to be in a half kneeling position. We're going to stretch out our hips and our hamstrings a little bit after all of those lunges that we did. So when we're on the ground, half kneeling, so I have my right knee on the ground, left foot on the ground. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tuck our pelvis. We're gonna keep that core nice and tight. We're gonna squeeze that glute of the knee that's on the ground. We're gonna gently bring our hips forward. So the more we need to focus on squeezing the glute, the less forward we need to lean. So squeeze that glute, nice big inhale. And we're gonna exhale, straightening that front leg, toe to the ceiling, hands on the ground, push those hips back. We're gonna feel that stretch all the way from the bottom of the calf all the way up towards our glutes. Nice big deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, rocking back forward to that hip flexor stretch. So squeeze that glute, keep that core tight, push our hips forward. Nice big deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, rock our hips back, straighten that front foot, toes to the ceiling. This is gonna be our last one on this leg, and then we're gonna switch over to the other side. So nice big deep breath. And we're gonna go ahead and release out of that. And we're gonna switch over to the other side. So I'm gonna have my left knee on the ground, right foot on the ground. Had to think about that for a second. And same checklist, we're gonna tuck our pelvis, keep that core tight, squeeze that glute, slightly bring those hips forward. Keep that glute squeeze, it's gonna release that front of the hip. Nice big deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, rock our hips back, toes to the ceiling, get that chest as close to the knee as we can. Feeling that stretch all the way through the calves, through the hamstrings. Nice big deep breath. And exhaling, moving back forward. So squeeze that glute, bring those hips forward. Keep that core nice and tight. Nice big deep breath. And exhaling, rock back, toes to the ceiling. Chest as close to the ground as we can. Nice big deep breath. And we're gonna go ahead and exhale and come out of that. And then our last stretch here this morning, we're gonna go ahead and be on our hands and knees. And we're gonna stretch out our upper back a little bit more. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna thread the needle. So I'm gonna take my right arm here. We're gonna go in between the left arm, left leg. Keep that hand on the ground. You can even bring your head to the ground. You're gonna push the back of your hand into the ground and pull away with the upper back. So we're gonna get a little bit of rotation through the spine. And then that's gonna start to open up right underneath the shoulder blades into the tops of our shoulders. So we're gonna take a few deep breaths here. Nice slow exhales. Great job, everyone. Breathing through here. We're gonna do one more deep breath. Sigh away that tension. And we're gonna go ahead and exhale and bring that right hand back up under our right shoulder. And we're gonna do that same thing on the other side. So we're gonna take the left arm now, reaching in between the right arm, right leg, hand on the ground. You can even bring that head towards the ground. We're gonna push the back of the hand into the ground and pull away with the upper back. So again, feeling that stretch right underneath the shoulder blade into the tops of the shoulders. Nice big deep breaths. If you breathe into the chest, you're gonna feel that upper back expand, giving you a little bit more of a stretch there. And sighing away the tension. Great job. And let's go ahead and do one more big deep breath here. And as we exhale, we can bring that hand back up under our shoulder. And from here, you can return to seated, kneeling, or standing. But that is going to be all the time I have for today's class. So thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Great job. We do have a few more classes coming up today. So we've got exercise with Exos at 12 with me. So that'll be a good workout. We've got dance at 12:30 with John, and then we got abs and core later on tonight at 4 with Renee. So you can definitely join us for any one of those. We do also have a stretch break at 11 today with me. And then we do have our New Year challenge going on right now on Slack. So those of you who are participating, great job, keep it up. If you want to join, you can still sign up and participate in all the past challenges. And then you can stay up to date with us on Slack at #Exos. But thank you for joining me this morning. Great job, everyone. And I'll see you all soon.